See, and it bothers me. I don't enjoy the straps or,
Right,
like, I don't feel weak.
right,
You know, the first couple months at Craig, I felt very unstable.
yeah. Did they have
Very
your,
nervous.
did they have your hand like suspended from the thing so you could drive your chair?
No,
Like I couldn't do this when I was at Craig, like, they had this, I forget what it was called, this rigging thing. You probably saw them with a boom, maybe
yes.
Yeah.
a little
And
string,
I
and
saw
like,
people
the
use
string
them.
like holds your wrist up.
Yeah,
Cause I didn't have the strength to hold my wrist up long enough to drive, like,
To get
just
to it.
holding my hand up like this was too much, you know?
He worked out daily before the accident, he was bodybuilding all the time.
Right,
And they actually stayed because of the amount of his injuries that had he not been in the physical condition
absolutely, yeah,
that he was
I
at the
can relate to
time,
that scenario,
he
yeah.
probably would never have made it.
yeah,
see, I don't really have any, things to work off, because, like at Craig, when they first ordered the chair, they said, hey, we'll probably get you one of the mouth ones you can breathe in, you know? And
really,
I said, oh, okay, 'cause I didn't know,
I know,
you know, so Joe got me up and says, well, let's just try it first. With the
Right.
hand stuff and just kind of see what you can do.
yeah,
And I said, okay. So get on the chair, he's like, can you do stuff? I was like, yeah, I can move stuff. He goes, can you control it? I says, yeah, it feels okay. He goes, well, then we don't need the mouthpiece.
right,
So right away, he put me this, and I was fine right away.
right,
So he's like, okay, he goes, well, let's do some other stuff, and I don't have anything to go off of still.
right,
Like, I don't know the struggles of what people have gone through to get to that point.
right,
I'm like, where I'm at right now is where I left Craig at.
right.
I haven't gained,
I didn't get anything first
Back.
2.5 years. I was pretty similar to the way I left Craig for the first 2.5 years.
right now.
Well, I'm 7 years out now, right?
But I'm saying, sorry, the first 2.5 years afterwards, you got nothing back.
Almost nothing. The only thing that I accomplished was, in therapy, they were sitting me up on the side of the bed and getting me into a position where I could hold myself, but if I moved at all, I would fall over. But they would get me into that position, and I would just try to hold it as long as I
To be
could.
stable.
And just like, okay, how long can you stay there, Adam, you know, without any trying to move or anything. And I finally got to like 15 minutes, you know, it was like so huge, you know, it started out so tiny, you know, and all of it starts out so tiny. Just like,
It's building.
yeah, it took, let's see, after 3 years, I curled a 2-pound dumbbell for the first time. And then 3 months after that, I curled a 5-pound dumbbell.
So quick.
Yeah, well, it's just like, you're working back to the root of the tree from the leaves in some ways.
Right, it's basis.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like,
I see what you said.
getting all that stuff, linking all that stuff together is, it just takes a lot, man. You know, we're starting from scratch with so many things. Like, I don't know if you had this experience, the first time they sat me up in bed, like within the first week of my surgery, the very first time they sat me up, put my legs over the side of the bed and propped me up, you know, I definitely couldn't do any of that on my own. I had such extreme vertigo, it felt like the whole world was swirling and caving in on me. It was so extreme. And I had that same experience during my injury, where it was like this impossibly gigantic gong with just this crazy huge dissonance, you know, that rung in my head when I broke my neck.
When it happened.
Yeah, and then I totally, completely lost my sense of myself in space, right? Because like, all proprioception was definitely out the window. All, you know, I couldn't feel anything below my neck, maybe my traps, because I was laying on the ground, and I knew my neck was broken before I even like finished hitting the ground, you know?
Yeah.
And, because everything just like did this as soon as my head hit, and then fell over and was like this, and then, I could wiggle my shoulders a little bit, and I could move my head a little bit, but I knew not to experiment with that.
Yeah, 'cause something's wrong.
Yeah, and then my teammates, one of my teammates was an EMT, there was like over a dozen people right there. No one actually watched me crash because everyone was all over the place doing stuff. they were there right away. They knew not to try to take my full face off. They knew not to
Don't
touch
move
me. Yeah, I didn't even have to tell them, but, and, luckily I could breathe, you know. And the way my C4 split, it hooved out at the bottom, so to speak, so it just kind of like encroached into the space. But, you know, at that moment of injury, it's hard to tell how much that was. But when I got the MRI right after it, the vertebrae was still like in there, holding vertical load, so to speak, but it was split from the bottom to the top, and it just happened to split more at the bottom. So my injury is at like C4, C5, instead of C4, C3.
That's why you're still going breathing.
And that's why I had diaphragmatic breathing still, based on how that one particular vertebrae broke, right?
So it is, yeah.
Totally,
Just luck.
yeah.
See, that's the funny part, because I don't remember nothing. I mean, I was awake the whole time. In the hospital, they told me, oh yeah, you were telling us who to call and everything.
Right.
I remember nothing. I can tell you anything.
Well, I think that's still, Johnny, from the slight stroke that you had.